Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's time to get really serious with my Harbor Blue 1967 F-250. I'm going to do some things to it and get it ready to get it cleaned up, so let's get after it. Well guys, you should know this truck on the channel by now. It's my 1969 F-250 I picked up in Colorado. It'd be about a month or so ago now. And it's still hasn't got cleaned up. The paint's not cleaned up yet. I did a little bit to it. But the main thing I did was I took it to my body guy, my paint guy that's working on a few trucks for me. And he thinks we can get close to the paint and buff this out and get that paint looking good and get some new paint on this. So what I'm going to do, I have a new set of fenders, new inner fender over there because the battery, an old battery exploded and rotted out the fender there. And I'm going to pull the front end apart so we can paint the fenders and repaint the hood. I want to paint the hood because there's some dents here. This is showing some paint's coming off there, and there's this hole for this antenna here. So I think we're going to do a respray on the hood, the stone deflector, and this upper valence here, and the fenders. And I want to fix these holes right here, and there's a crack right here. So we're going to try to paint the front end and see if we can leave this with it matching. We're going to give it a try. So that's what we're doing today. I'm going to try to pull this front end apart, and he wants to paint it all off the truck. And of course I'll get the fenders, the inner fenders off, and paint those black, and the core support here and get that painted, and hood hinges and stuff, and kind of clean this engine bay up a little bit because this isn't as nice as the rest of the truck, the interior and stuff. So we're going to try to make this as nice as the rest of the truck. So I'm going to get after that. First thing I got to do, drain the coolant and get the radiator out of there and start taking stuff apart. And I'll get the hood off when I have some help here. But time to get after it. Well, getting right along on this front end disassembly on this truck here. No real surprises yet. The only thing is the stone deflector here is a little bit beat up, more beat up than I thought it would be. Got a little dent there, and right here is the major portion. It's tweaked this way and big dent here, so might be using a different stone deflector just to save on having to fix this one because I have some. So I'll see what kind of options I have for the stone deflector. So the core support is in real good shape. I haven't found any rot. Sometimes they like to rot down here where the front core support mount is. There's a pocket there, and they like to rot out right there. The battery box here I wanted to show you. This is unfortunately battery acid, and battery sitting here does this to these. Battery box is rotting out, and it rotted out the inner fender there. But I have new inner fender for this side, so we can replace that, no problem. Luckily it didn't get into the core support that I've seen anywhere, so we don't have to get a new core support or fix this one. So not that big of a deal. So I wanted to show you that before I get it all apart, just to show you what I meant by the battery boxer out there. That's pretty common, but gonna continue stripping this thing down. Well, we got the whole front end apart. Got it all blown apart out here. Went pretty good. Everything looks awful nice and clean up in here, which is good. No surprises on the cab, which would be a big problem if there was something, you know, wrong with here, or some rot down in here or something like that I didn't see. So none of that is present, so that's all good. Next step would be, I need to get this thing out of here, and I'm going to steam clean the frame and everything, see how greasy it is around the steering box and just things like that. Just try to clean this up as best I can to try to decide how far I'm going to do the cleanup under here. If I'm going to pull the engine, you know, do a rebuild on the engine, clean the engine up, anything like that. You know, if everything cleans up pretty nice, I think I can present it well, I'll leave it in place. I'm going to do a compression check on all 8 cylinders of that engine to make sure we don't have a weak hole or something of that nature. If we do, then definitely engines coming out and getting work done to it. But for now, I'm going to try to clean parts off of these. I'm going to reuse this inner fender, reuse the core support. I'm going to try to find a stone deflector. I have a new one in the box, but rather not use that one just yet. I'm going to try to see if I have a good used stone deflector to use. Not using that inner fender because of the rot around the battery, obviously. These 2 fenders are rotted out, and the hood, we're using the hood, so have to patch that hole in the hood, and there's a few dents, but other than that, everything's looking good. So right now I'm just going to do a bunch of cleanup work. We have a bunch of extra wires and stuff we don't need. I'm going to try to clean up all that extra wiring and stuff and see what we got. So I'm going to get after that. Well, I've done a little bit of cleanup. Got some of those extra wires out of here that wasn't needed. Those aftermarket wires and stuff, that helps clean it up a little bit. But before I take it out and clean anything, I'm going to do a compression check on all 8 cylinders and see how consistent they are. It's not going to be a real deal compression test to see the health of the engine, because it's not going to be up to temperature. But what it is going to be is tell me how consistent each of the cylinders are. So if there's a problem with one of the cylinders, I'll know about it. So it'll just be kind of a consistency and see how the range of compressions are from cylinder to cylinder. So I'm going to get after that, and I'll fill you guys in. Well guys, I just got done checking the compression and everything was going great until I got to the very last one I checked, number 4 back there in the back on the passenger side, and it wasn't good. So let's go through it. Let's start on the good with the good things first. We got I did them kind of backwards. I guess I did 5, 6, 7, and 8 first, but those did 138, 135, 140, and 125 all the way down this side. So it's not bad. The back one back here, that one was the one I showed when I got this thing running. It had a little bit of rust in it with the bore scope. That was probably the worst one I saw on the bore scope. So when I saw that, you know, we had these in the 130s, even a 142 there, or 140, I mean. That one back there at 125, I thought, well, that's probably, that might have been the cylinder that was stuck, so it's a little low. So I went over here and started checking this side, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're at 120, 142, 135, and 90. So that number 4 cylinder there is a problem child. I did put my bore scope down this whenever I got this thing running, and these cylinders all look good and clean. So not sure what's going on back there. That might have been the cylinder that was stuck, or both of the back cylinders were stuck, or there's just something wrong with this cylinder. I did put some oil in this cylinder. I put just a little bit of oil in the cylinder to try to get an idea if it's the cylinder head or the block, and put some oil in it, and it went up to 115, I believe. I believe that's what it was, and so that's a good indication that it's the cylinder walls. So it might even be a combination of both, since it didn't come up very much. But since I got it set up here, I think we should still have some good oil in there. Let's go ahead and try it again, and I'll show you guys the compression gauge, and you can watch it go up, and we'll see what it reads. It's been setting for a while since I put the oil in there, but we'll see what we get. Yeah, that oil is still in there, and it's still sealing up the rings, sealing up a little bit better, but it's still only 115, about 116 maybe. So that's a bummer, but I guess I wasn't really expecting to have to pull the engine and rebuild it, but it's gonna make this truck turn out a lot better in the end. So I was planning on doing a kind of a under hood cleanup and restoration, since it was kind of the ugliest part of the truck. I thought I could clean it up pretty good. I was going to steam clean the engine and see what it looked like, and see what the paint looked like, and hopefully it would everything clean up good and turn out good. Like that white 69 F-350 that I did, that engine turned out really great when I started cleaning it up. I was kind of hoping this one would be the same, but it looks like I might be pulling it out and just doing a quick rebuild on it, which it's going to be pretty easy since I got all the front end parts. So it's really not going to be much added labor, but it's going to add some added cost. And this truck is racking up the bills quick, but we'll see what we end up with, and see what we end up with on a truck to sell. So with a new engine, all nice paint front end, and under hood all restored and looking fresh, it might just help the value out just enough to make it all worth it. So I guess we'll find out, but I'm going to get started on pulling this engine and get it to the machine shop so it can be done pretty quick. Luckily my machinist is pretty good and gets stuff done for me pretty quick if I need him to. If I'm kind of not needing it, usually I get put on the back burner. He has a set of heads for my 72 going on about 6 months now, but I haven't needed them yet, so they're not done. I could call them today and tell them I need them, and they'd probably be done this week. But anyway, we'll get after it. I'm just happy that the front end's apart, and I'm not having to pull this engine while after I've got the paint work done or something like that. So I'm gonna get after pulling this engine, and
got it out here and was doing a little poking around with it. Nothing's jumping out at me as being a problem. Drained the oil out of it. The oil is all good shape. So yeah, I think it would have cleaned up nice if it would have, see how clean the back of the block is and everything. But that weak cylinder right here, right there is the problem child. So we'll get that head pulled off of there and check it out. But here's a look at the truck. I still have to clean all this stuff up. I'm going to steam clean all this, but I think I'm going to wait until after this truck goes to paint because, you know, I don't want to do all the cleaning before we're done with it. So once I get it back from paint, then I'll start cleaning and prepping all this stuff. I don't know if I want to paint the frame here. I might, just because everything's apart, you know, clean this really good and give it a coat of black paint to kind of clean it up a little bit. Not sure yet. You know, I'm not going to be pulling the cab and pulling the bed, so I'm not going to be able to paint the rest of the frame. So I don't know if that's really going to look very good. I don't know. I'm gonna do some thinking on that, and I'm not sure about the headers either. See, the headers are all rusty and everything. So to make those look nice to match the brand new, nice, clean engine we're gonna have, I'm gonna have to either take those off and have them coated, or I might just replace them with manifolds and go back to stock setup just for stock appearance, because these old rusty headers on that brand new shiny engine is probably not going to look that great. You know, we're just going back with 2-barrel, you know, stock cam, nothing crazy here. So the headers are kind of overkill for this truck. I think the stock rebuild of this truck, the manifolds might fit it better. So I might see if I can find a set of manifolds and go from there. And we're still probably a little ways away from needing any of that stuff, because we still have to get this engine tore down, get it to my machine shop, get it spec'd out, and see what we need to do there. See if we're going to have to bore the cylinders, which I'm guessing that is what is wrong with this number 4. I'm guessing it's the cylinder walls. Maybe it might be a broke ring or a stuck ring in the piston, but I'm guessing there's going to be some problems with the cylinder walls just from being a 50-year-old engine. And we might have to clean the cylinder walls up a little bit, order some pistons, some new bearings. Going to be kind of interesting to see. I don't know if this engine's ever been apart. I know the valve covers have been apart because they're painted different than the engine. So the valve covers have been off of it, so I don't know how far the rest of it's been apart. So we're going to do some engine archaeology when we dig into this thing. But I think we're going to do that on another episode. We're going to call this one good. So the next episode, you'll see us digging into this engine, see if it's ever been apart before. We can look at the pistons and the bearings and know that. And we'll see what exactly is wrong with that number 4. So you don't want to miss that. Hit the like button if you like this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys.